Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money channel. So another great tweet here from ISO 20022, let's do it on Twitter. New JP Morgan 2024 report meant for institutional investors. So guys, this is not meant for us, meant for institutions. AI will disrupt the labor market by devaluing expert skills, causing unemployment and potential mass joblessness. Now, for the last few years, really since the beer flu, I always assumed that this was the way the market was going to go. Unfortunately, it's part of this controlled takedown by organizations like the WEF. 2024 long-term capital markets assumption. Okay, this is an assumption. Down here, ISO 20022 does mention for institutional, wholesale, professional clients, and qualified investors only, not for retail use or distribution. So this is for the 1%, guys. This is investment, insight on investments for the big money, put out by JP Morgan Asset Management. And guys, here they're mentioning things like big tech adoption rates have been accelerating. And because AI is so accessible, requiring minimal capital investment from end users, it could take hold faster. Some other points that he's highlighted here from this JP Morgan report. AI could, of course, be highly disruptive to the labor market as even higher skilled work becomes increasingly automatable. It was really weird when I first heard that, professions like lawyers could, fall prey to AI, artificial intelligence, because a lot of it is just understanding the law and applying the law to the particular case at hand. And, for example, that's very much just procedural work that artificial intelligence could do very, very efficiently and effectively, theoretically, of course, as even higher skilled workers become, so labor demand will be reshaped towards labor's comparative advantages relative to artificial intelligence. And if this shift occurs rapidly, it could cause unemployment and mass unemployment at that. So labor competing with cheaper AI could also exert downward pressure on wages. As we know, of course, we know you don't have to pay robots to take the same jobs that, maybe many people were being paid minimum wage to do. And that could be a large chunk, a large segment of the market. However, the fear is real as well of potential mass joblessness and the potential for manipulation and misuse should the technology fall into the wrong hands. So this is all coming out, guys, from JP Morgan, for their institutional clients. And so where are they going to invest next? This is the big question. That a lot of these, I think a lot of these investors that want to protect their investment and want to protect their wealth want to know. Not only that, I happen to see this from Ian Binns. I guess I should say thank you to ISO 20022 for posting this, and thank you to Ian Binns for posting this. The use of AI to accelerate adoption of central bank digital currencies, this coming from the IMF. So we're seeing a pattern here, guys. AI, artificial intelligence. Recently, too, we've heard Ripple talk about, or somebody at Ripple mentioning the fact that there are going to be new verticals being developed on the XRP ledger, for example. One of them is going to be AI, artificial intelligence. The head of the International Monetary Fund, though, urged the application of AI technology to speed along the maturity and accelerate adoption of central bank digital currencies. This was talked about a few weeks ago. The benefits of CBDCs will depend on how technologies evolve. This was declared by the IMF Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva. Georgieva argued that incorporating AI into digital cash could improve financial inclusion by providing both faster credit scoring that incorporates various data and personalized support to people with low financial literacy. So these are their arguments here. Here's a quote. To be sure, we need to protect personal privacy and data security and avoid embedded bias so we don't perpetuate inequality but aim to reduce it. The benefits might rely on the technologies, but according to the IMF boss, success relies on policy decisions and the response of the private sector, which he called on to step up its guidance efforts. So the IMF is very, very aware of where, the technology is going. So not just with, the typical central bank digital currency, which, a few years ago, we thought maybe that was our only, threat. Maybe this was the only thing we had to focus on. But no, think of now how AI, artificial intelligence, could speed this up and how it could, add another element, another layer to the problems of central bank digital currencies for the people. Now, these organizations are stating, oh, no, this is great news for us and for you. And yeah, right. If you're peddling it, I'm not buying it, in other words. But, it's something we got to pay attention to. another good reason why we should be safeguarding our investments, but also another good reason to get into some cryptocurrencies that are going to solve real problems. So, that was my mantra at the beginning when I first started this cryptocurrency journey. But now I'm realizing I did not take enough profits off the table in the last spec run. So myself, I still do hold some great utility coins that I'm going to hold a portion of for the long term, but I'm also getting into some high flying picks to safeguard my wealth, hopefully try to maximize that wealth during this bull run. So guys, I'm sharing all of that at my Patreon, patreon.com/workingmoneychannel. I guess the thing is, if you feel like you didn't cash enough crypto out in the last bull run, well, guys, I'm in the same boat and I'm switching it up this time around. So if you want to see what I'm doing, you can follow. Only $5 a month, and I've kept it affordable on purpose. I do not want to charge. Some people have been telling me you can charge way more money for this. I go, no, I don't want to. I want you guys to stick with me, and I want you guys to see what I'm doing this bull run. So, whether I cash out in mid-24 or late 2024, early 2025, whenever it is, I'm trying to keep it affordable enough so that everybody who wants to feels like they can. It is only $60 for the year. And like I say, some people spend $5 on a coffee every single day. That's not me, by the way. But anyway, it's up to you if you guys want to join or not. The other thing I wanted to mention, guys, was this from Mr. Man. There are numerous regulatory sandboxes around the world working on DLT pilots, and some jurisdictions have a couple depending on what they're trying to achieve. So this just has to do with DLT technology and the ongoing process, I guess, that we're finding ourselves in. This coming from the Philadelphia Federal Reserve. Okay, nobody wants to be left behind at this point. I feel like in 2018 it was a bit of a different narrative, but at this point, guys, he's saying some countries are even FOMOing in. Watch this.
This is sort of the obligatory global regulatory sandbox scan. It's a little bit dated, but there are about between 50 and 60 different sandbox projects globally. There's some jurisdictions with multiple regulatory sandboxes. Thailand, for example, I think has 3. Hong Kong does as well. There's an interesting question there for us later on the panel to talk about how sandbox activities are coordinated across multi-regulator environments. But just to give you a sense that this is a very hot topic. It's not slowing down. If anything, we've experienced regulators, particularly in emerging markets, finding that sandboxes are something that they have to have. And it's almost we talk about FMOC here. It's really FOMO in emerging markets, fear of missing out, and no real signs of slowing down.
Nobody wants to be the first, but everybody is clamoring to be the second. I remember that quote from the early days of blockchain development. We thought, oh yeah, all these banks would love to jump on board with the RippleNet train. However, it's way more complicated than we initially thought. Anyways, learning more and more every single day. Wanted to thank Mr. Man here for posting that. And I mean, because we are seeing this and we're noticing the little nuances, it is also interesting when you do see little hints like this in mainstream news. Now we know that Hollywood has a knack for pre-predictive programming. I happened to see this ad on Netflix the other day, but then I noticed that crypto Twitter was abuzz with some information that I thought was very interesting. Cypress Domenicor here bringing this up. The #1 movie trending on Netflix, guys. Check this out and look at how this relates to XRP. But we are the crazy ones, right? He says. You mean the same people telling everyone XRP wasn't a security? Do the opposite of what they say. Time always tells. Either it goes to zero or to the moon, the only in between. Well, we wait for one of these scenarios. Now, if you don't know, this is a movie that was just put out by Netflix. Another one here from Cypress Domenicor. This movie is one of the most predictive programming movies of all time, considering what is on the horizon for the new digital economy. If you are unaware of real cyber threats we may face, you need to start doing some research. Now, there is a documentary that was put out about the Hollywood pre-predictive programming. And, there were people from inside Hollywood that were even, whistleblowing, basically. I don't think they work in Hollywood now, but they used to work in Hollywood and they were whistleblowing on this, I think about a decade ago. I forget the name of the doc. I really wish I had it. And I really wish I could tell you what it is because I urge you guys to watch this. This is how the world is being controlled, at least in the West. So Hollywood just made this seem like a joke. Go watch the IMF, WEF, the UN, and other large organizations confirm that we are all on the brink of a major cyber pandemic. For example, guys, this video here, was put out by the World Economic Forum talking about this. I don't know if you remember this. I think I showed this clip on one of my shows. Watch this.
The COVID-19 pandemic has shaken our economies and societies to the core and shown us how vulnerable we are to biological threats. In the digital world, similar risks are being overlooked right now. A cyber attack with COVID-like characteristics would spread faster and further than any biological virus. Its reproductive rate would be around 10 times greater than what we've experienced with the coronavirus. To give you an idea, one of the fastest worms in history, the 2003 Slammer sapphire worm, doubled in size approximately every 8.5 seconds, infecting over 75,000 devices in 10 minutes and almost 11 million devices in 24 hours. Fortunately, at least until now, cyber attacks have not impacted our health the way pandemics have, but the economic damages, and therefore the impact they have had on our daily lives, have been equal and sometimes even greater. You see, the only way to stop the exponential propagation of a COVID-like cyber threat is to fully disconnect the millions of vulnerable devices from one another and from the internet. All of this in a matter of days. A single day without the internet would cost our economies more than $50 billion, and that's before considering the economic and societal damages should these devices be linked to essential services such as transport or healthcare. As the digital realm increasingly merges with our physical world, the ripple effects of cyber attacks on our safety just keep on expanding at a faster pace than what we're preparing for. COVID-19 was known as an anticipated risk. So is the digital equivalent. Let's be better prepared for that one. The time is now.
I mean, you cannot make this stuff up. They are saying it to our faces, guys. Brought to you by the World Economic Forum. Now, how does this relate to pre-predictive programming? I'm going to show you guys in a second. First of all, let's talk a little bit about Polygon. If you guys are unfamiliar, this is their website here, and I will link all these in the description of the video for you. The International Capacity Building Initiative aimed at raising global cyber resilience. So you saw the warning video from the WEF. Well, here we have about Polygon. At Polygon, organizations get to test their level of resilience to cyber attacks, as well as exchange best practices with the global community. We also have Interpol, how they're part of this. They support Polygon. So this was an event from 2021. If you guys remember the, what was it? It wasn't Agenda 20. What was it called? There was another forum that occurred right before the beer flu happened, right before it hit. And it was like a year before in October. I want to say October 2019. Put it down in the comments if you guys remember the name. But basically, it was that panel with Bill Gates giving us the rundown of what would happen if we were hit by a major pandemic. Dun, dun, dun. Then, sure enough, a couple of years later, we were hit with the beer flu. So the fact that these guys are going on and on about Polygon, a cyber pandemic, I've done videos over the years showing you guys that clip over and over again of Klaus Schwab, saying we should be very careful and ready for this cyber pandemic. I'll see if I can find one. I'll link it up here in the top right-hand corner. Klaus Schwab, though, founder and executive chairman of the World Economic Forum, the promotion of cybersecurity and technologies is of crucial importance for the world today. This is what he's saying. The pandemic has changed the world, and one of the most striking transformations has been the complete digitization of all aspects of our lives. I think the Polygon training is one of the great initiatives to help fight crime in the digital space and increase global cyber resilience. Sure it is. Right. Dr. Syed Haider here bringing this up. Okay, the WEF has predicted their war game scenario. Polygon will occur before 2025. So that's what they're saying, guys. Before 2025, we've got about 12 months, a 12-month window for this to occur. So another reason why we should probably be very, very careful on where you're keeping your cryptocurrency. I would not be keeping my crypto on an exchange. And yes, for the Patreon, I do have it on an exchange just for demonstration purposes. But a large part of my cryptocurrency I've been keeping in cold storage. The device I personally use is the Ledger Nano, and I believe the ruby red Ledger Nano is still on discount. You guys can save 20% up until December the 23rd, or while supplies last. So you can get a pretty good deal on the Ledger Nano S Plus, the Nano X, and Nano Duo. So if that's something you guys are interested in, you still don't have a cold wallet storage solution, you can check down in the description of every video I do. I do have an affiliate link there. You can use my link if you want, but you do not have to use it. I just want to keep urging you guys, if you have not done it, find some kind of cold wallet storage solution that you can keep your crypto on, because if this happens during the 2024 election year, as Dr. Syed Haider here is mentioning, well, if exchanges go down, your crypto may be lost. So he says, now we have the next step in their lead up to the false flag attack in the form of predictive programming. Whitney Webb also warned us about this. She was recently on a podcast. I wanted to play you guys this quick clip. Listen to this.
Right. So this was said at the WEF annual meeting earlier this year in January by the WEF managing director, Jeremy Jurgens. And Jurgens, as well as the WEF itself, has been involved in a series of simulations for several years now that I'm sure a lot of people in your audience are familiar with, called Cyber Polygon, which has been directly affiliated with Russia's government, as well as some of Russia's biggest banks and some of the biggest commercial banks in the world, and also backed by a lot of U.S. federal agencies, which is ironic when you consider, all the about alleged Russian hacks over the years. They're very willing, under the guise of the WEF, to collaborate with the, supposed hackers responsible for everything bad, for several years ago. So that's quite revealing. But aside from Cyber Polygon, there's a lot that the WEF seeks to accomplish as it relates to the cyber realm. And they've been collaborating in a lot of ways with these same big banks and also American intelligence agencies in unprecedented ways that has not really gotten any coverage over the past several years. And a lot of this is housed within a public-private partnership the WEF manages called the World Economic Forum Partnership Against Cybercrime. And this particular organization, back a few years ago, gamed out with the Carnegie Endowment, along with the Federal Reserve, the Bank of England, the European Central Bank, so some of the biggest central banks in the world, as well as some of the biggest commercial in the world, like Bank of America and JP Morgan, how essentially the U.S. financial system was due to be the victim of a massive cyber attack. And if you're familiar with how things have been going in the U.S. financial or banking system recently, things are not in a very good state at all. And regardless of if there would be or will be a cyber attack in the near future, the banking and financial system in the United States is in deep doo-doo.
Deep doo-doo. Not my words, Whitney Webb's words. So I will link this in the description of the video, guys. It is a 26-minute podcast here from Redacted, featuring Whitney Webb, one of my favorites, and not just because she's wearing a Sonic Youth shirt. So these guys have been, warning us that this is going to be happening. The pre-predictive programming, though, this is off the charts. Number one of the top 10 movies in the US trending right now on Netflix. Leave the World Behind. What else do we know about this, guys? Well, it is amazing. Okay, just going back to this Cypress Demenencore tweet here, we have, and I have not seen this movie. I think I'm going to watch it tonight. White Lion. The ship here coming up on shore. I'm guessing this is, the beginning of the tragedy here, some kind of cataclysmic event that is occurring. And apparently, when you type White Lion here into Gematria Calculator, this is what you get. So we got White Lion here, but as you guys can see, if you type in these numbers with the English Gematria, it equals 690. So you type in 690 here. And what do you get, guys? The term XRP Moon coincides with 690 and 115, the same numbers that coincide with White Lion here, 690, 115. So, are they showing us in plain sight that this is what we are to expect? A cyber pandemic that's going to change the financial landscape, that big shutdown, the big shutdown that the WEF and others through their Cyber Polygon initiative have been warning us about for all this time. So either it goes to zero or we moon. What is going to happen next, guys? Not only that, if I bring up the Leave the World Behind IMDb page and we scroll down here and we look at all cast and crew here, you guys can see, look at who the producers are of this. A couple of the producers here look familiar to anyone? Barack and Michelle Obama, definitely influential figures that would definitely have the power to make this happen. So I don't know. What does it say to you? Will XRP Moon, once we do see this cyber pandemic occur, ushering in a brand new financial system? Guys, we keep seeing clues time and time again. And this, again, is something that we've been hearing about for years now. So I would just be very, very careful where you keep your crypto. And I'm just happy I'm holding XRP, one of my largest positions. That's just my opinion, though. I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.